our next lesson, the lessons that I've learned from my previous relationships and or marriage. The next lesson is that, in my opinion, relationships work better when there is more compatibility than compromise. And what I mean by that is we often find ourselves falling in love with potential. We rush into relationships before we really figure out if we align with someone's values, if we have the same type of mindset or the same type of ways of life. Like, you don't have to be the exact same person as someone, but can you rock with the type of person that they are, is the question. If you all have different belief systems, or you value different things, or you even down to spirituality, politics, and just everything that's going on in the world, can you actually accept that person's differences? Especially when you start living with somebody. Like, you really start to see how your different upbringing and how your different ways collaborate with each other and how that works. And I think that we often get into these relationships where we don't really rock with the person's beliefs. We don't really rock with how they want to do things, and we try to force it to work. The topics that go around 50-50, let's say that. If you are a woman who wants a traditional man who is a provider and a protector, who wants to pay all of the bills, pay the rent, and you do something else with the money that you bring in, or you may not even have to bring money in, why are you getting with a man who is more of a modern day man, who expects you to go out and work, who expects you to bring in just as much money, who expects you to pay just as many bills, who expects you to be going half on everything that you all have? And vice versa. If you're a traditional man, which I know some, who want a type of woman who makes the home, keeps the home up, cooks, cleans, provides, care for the children and make sure that you're straight, packs your lunch and do all of these things, why are you getting with a woman who doesn't want to do those things? She doesn't want to cook. She doesn't care about keeping the house clean. She would prefer to just send the kids to school, let them handle it, and when they come in, she wants to share the responsibility equally. It's just off balance. So to me, it's better if you find someone who wants to live life the same way or similar way. Even when it just comes to your personal preferences. A lot of people have issues with people having preferences. I think that my personal thing about that, or perspective about it, is if you have your preferences, that's fine. When it comes to what type of look, what type of personality you're looking for, what type of status you want this person to have. There's nothing wrong with having a preference. You can have your deal breakers. You can have the things that you are willing to compromise on. The only thing about people that have certain perspectives, especially when it comes to like dating different races or something like that, if you date only a certain race, don't put down another one to make your point. Just date who you want to date. But when it comes to having preferences, everybody wants you to just let go of your preferences just so you can have someone. And I don't personally see anything wrong with having preferences. It's just a matter of knowing your deal breakers. This is also an exercise that's in this book, in this journal. Actually writing down what your ideal mate is, and then figuring out, is this something that is a deal breaker for me, or is this something that I'm willing to compromise on? And then seeing what that looks like in comparison to the person that you are considering pursuing or considering dating. Some people may shock you. If me personally, I like taller men. I'm a tall woman. But I have dated men who were not as tall, or not even as tall as me, because they had other great qualities. But that was something that I really did not like. But I worked with it. But then it's like, when somebody starts showing their ass, and then that's the first thing you're thinking of, like, damn, I don't even like short dudes, and you over here acting, but it doesn't matter. People should treat you right no matter what they look like. But I'm just saying, if it's something that's going to bother you, then it is a deal breaker for you. If it's something that you really don't want to compromise on, don't compromise on it. Everybody wants to tell people that they need to compromise on all of their preferences, all of their desires, all of their thought processes, but we are who we are. So their relationships do require some compromise when it comes to, you're not always going to agree with everything your partner says. You're not always going to agree on every decision that needs to be made. So there has to be some type of compromise when it comes to that. But when it comes to just the overall scheme of things, especially when you're just getting into the relationship, why choose to get into a relationship with someone who you don't accept, like, or appreciate in the form that they are in currently? Don't get to the point where you feel like, well, I like them, I don't really like the way they dress, but I could work with that. I don't really like the way they think about this political situation that's going on, but I think I can change their mind on that. I don't like their views on this particular subject, but I'm going to change their mind. I don't like the fact that they think it's okay to be polygamous, but I'm going to make them monogamous. Like, these are certain views that is just like, other than the dressing part, you can upgrade people a little bit when it comes to that. But if someone is polygamous and you want to be in a monogamous relationship, why are you trying to force that person to be monogamous with you? Why not find someone who actually believes in monogamy and wants to be in a relationship with you and only you? It's just not making sense. And I've talked about this before on a post that I wrote probably like 8-9 years ago, maybe 10, that I feel like a lot of people shouldn't lower their standards, but should lower their expectations, because your standards are your standards. If you want to be treated a certain way, if you want to be in a certain lifestyle, those are your standards. Great, keep those. But if you are expecting a known cheater to come into your relationship and be faithful, you can expect it, but don't be shocked when it doesn't happen, because your expectations were super high for someone that has clearly shown you what their patterns are. Again, I know people that have gotten into relationships with known abusers. You know that this person has a track record of being an abusive person, but for some reason you feel like it's not going to happen to you. I've been in a situation where, okay, I know this person has a lot of children, and none of those, they didn't marry any of those people. They didn't, stick in a long-term relationship with that person, those people, and they're not really taking care of those children that well. But for some reason, I feel like we're going to settle down and we're going to have children together, and you're going to stay here and take care of those. Does that make sense? So when it comes to, the expectations and the compromising yourself, like, keep your standards. Don't compromise to the point where you have to compromise on your personal core values. That's another exercise in this journal, is actually determining what are your values, what are your core values, what's important to you. And, find someone that's compatible with you. Of course, it's not going to be the perfect match. There's going to be some things that you disagree on. There's going to be some things that you may not be that fond of. But if you can accept someone for who they are right now, not who they can be, not their potential, not any of that, and you like the way you feel with them now, not how you could feel with them if certain things would change, and if they have beliefs or a way of life that you don't agree with, unless you can accept it and live with it, don't get into the relationship with someone. Like, to me, it's just mind-blowing. And even on this topic is parenting styles. Like, I could talk about it more in depth on a podcast episode, but I personally would like to be a gentle parent, which I've talked about before, and practice that. Hopefully it works, that's my intention. But if I meet a man and he's already talking about, oh, I'm gonna be whooping my kids' ass, like that's what's wrong with kids now, they need to get their ass beat. And this has actually happened to me. I've actually had this conversation with men. That means that I don't want to enter into a relationship with you where we're going to be bringing forth children, because I already know that this is going to be an argument down the line. It's going to be a huge problem when it comes to parenting our children. So just find someone that you can actually agree with on the big scale of things, or the deal breakers are not too outlandish. And I feel like that will bring forth more peace. That's the lesson that I learned. That's the lesson that I go by when it comes to finding a partner or getting into a new relationship. It's compatibility over compromise for me, big dog. All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning into this lesson. Make sure you like, comment on, and share this video. And check out the description to get your copy of How to Beat Single. And also subscribe to my channel, because here I'm doing vlogs, I'm doing these mini series, I'm doing reviews, I'm doing my podcast. And I really want y'all to rock with me. So make sure you subscribe, and I will talk to you later.